If you are a Libra, and today feels like it is already trying to knock your schedule sideways, you are not imagining it. Something in the sky is pulling two very different directions at once, and by the time you understand why, you will also understand something about your finances that most people your sign will completely miss today. There is a lot moving through the chart for Libra right now, and the fastest moving piece is the moon, which begins today in your sixth house of work and daily routine before sliding into Aquarius later on. While it sits in that sixth house, it forms a square to Uranus, which is currently positioned in your ninth house of travel, learning, and expanded thinking. A square is a friction aspect. It means these 2 points are working against each other's natural rhythm, and that tension is exactly why your schedule may feel like it has a mind of its own today. Classes might shift. Deadlines might move. A meeting you counted on might suddenly need to be rescheduled. This is not a cosmic punishment. It is simply what happens when the planet of routine collides with the planet of sudden change. Once the moon crosses into Aquarius, the emotional tone of the day shifts. Aquarius energy tends to bring out your organizational instincts and a more detached, clear-headed problem-solving mode, which is fortunate because you are going to need exactly that skill set for the first half of the day. Take a breath here, because this next part is where the day actually starts making sense. Zooming out further, there is a slower, heavier current running underneath all of today's small disruptions. Chiron, the wounded healer of the Zodiac, has been sitting in Taurus since earlier this year and will remain there until September 2026, meaning this influence is nearly finished but still active. In Western tropical astrology, Taurus governs money, possessions, and material security, and Chiron there does not create random bad luck. It exposes old wounds around what you believe you deserve financially. Chiron people often overestimate a shortcut or underestimate a risk because Chiron's lesson usually is not delivered gently. This is a multi-year theme, not a today-only event, but today's mental clarity gives you an unusually good window to look at it honestly. Here is where two very different traditions actually agree on something important, which almost never happens this cleanly. Western astrology frames today's Moon-Uranus square as a call to stay flexible with your literal schedule. Meanwhile, the Chiron placement, read through its own mythic lens, is asking you to stay flexible with your assumptions about money. Both are really the same instruction wearing different clothes. Do not force a rigid plan onto a situation that is actively resisting rigidity, whether that plan involves your calendar or your bank account. So what does flexibility actually look like today? In relationships, it means resisting the urge to lock a loved one into an argument out of wounded pride. The instinct toward friction is there, mostly because Uranus makes people reactive and quick, but patience will consistently outperform impulsiveness today. If a partner cancels plans or a conversation gets rescheduled, that is the same energy pattern showing up again, not a sign anything is wrong between you. Professionally, this is not the day for elaborate plans involving many moving people. Collaborative projects may feel like herding cats, mostly because everyone else's schedule is just as unstable as yours. The smarter move is to protect what you can control: your own tasks, your own timeline, your own priorities. If a call gets pushed or a project timeline shifts, that is not a failure. That is simply today's chart in motion. Confidence in your own judgment, rather than in other people's cooperation, is what actually pays off at work today. And this is where the money conversation becomes unavoidable. Since Chiron continues moving through Taurus, any financial decision that promises an unusually fast or dramatic payoff deserves a second, more skeptical look. This does not mean opportunity is not real. It means the version of you that wants a millionaire shortcut should occasionally consult someone more grounded, an accountant, a mentor, someone who plays the long game rather than the maverick game. Sensible outside opinions tend to serve Libra particularly well while this transit is active, since Chiron's lessons often arrive faster when you are willing to hear them from someone else first. Here is what makes today genuinely worth paying attention to. Two entirely separate parts of your chart. One fast-moving and daily, one slow-moving and years-long, are both pointing at the exact same lesson from completely different angles. The Moon-Uranus friction is teaching you to release rigid control over small plans today. Chiron in Taurus is teaching you to release rigid attachment to a financial fantasy this year. When a fast transit and a slow transit echo each other this precisely, it is usually worth noticing, because it means the universe is not being subtle. Most viewers will scroll past this kind of alignment without ever connecting the dots. You just did. Let that settle for a second before we move into how this actually affects your body and your energy today. All this schedule disruption and mental restructuring takes a toll somewhere, and for Libra, that somewhere is usually the nervous system. You may notice a slight mental fatigue by mid-afternoon, less from physical exertion and more from the sheer number of small pivots your brain has had to make. Grounding practices, a short walk, a few minutes of quiet breathing, or simply stepping outside tend to work better today than trying to push through with willpower. On the subject of remedies, some Vedic practitioners may recommend Saturn-related practices, gemstones, or mantras for individuals whose birth charts specifically support them. But that kind of prescription genuinely requires personal chart analysis rather than generic advice, so nothing here should be taken as universal guidance. Emotionally, calm gratitude tends to outperform anxious control today. If you have been feeling a slight undercurrent of restlessness the last day or two, that is consistent with the Uranian energy building before it peaked today, not a sign something deeper is wrong. At home and socially, the same reshuffling theme continues, so a family plan changing or a friend rescheduling is not cause for concern. It is simply the same wind blowing through a different window. Handle it with the same maturity you are applying everywhere else today, and it resolves itself quickly. Travel, similarly, favors flexibility over fixed itineraries, and if you can, use any unexpected free time for research, reading, or brainstorming, rather than forcing productivity in a direction the day clearly does not want to go. Spiritually, this is a good day to trust your own inner compass over outside trends, whether that is a wellness fad or someone else's opinion about how you should be handling your money or your time. If you want a quick visual for today, think yellow, think mornings, since the earlier hours carry more ease than the afternoon. Moving forward from here, 3 small choices will likely serve you best. Keep today's plans loosely held rather than tightly scheduled. Run any major financial idea past someone more conservative than you before acting on it, and give yourself permission to adjust rather than abandon your day when something shifts. None of this requires forcing anything. It simply requires listening to what today's sky has already been telling you since sunrise. If this kind of reading helped make sense of your day, staying subscribed means you will not miss the next moment your chart quietly explains itself before you even ask.